Welcome to Mastering the Numbers, your go-to podcast for a deep dive into the world of business and entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Joe Mallo. Join me as I sit down with successful business owners to uncover their journeys, learnings, successes, and future plans. From market trends to personal stories of triumph, Mastering the Numbers delivers invaluable insights to fuel your own entrepreneurial spirit. So grab a seat and get ready to be inspired. All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to Mastering the Numbers. I am Joe Mallo with the Lead Edge Consulting Group. We're powered by Focal Point Business and Executive Coaching. My guest today is Alicia Hindman. She's the founder and CEO of the Buckeye Lady. Alicia, thanks for being a part of the interview series.
Well, thank you for having me, Joe. Happy to talk about the Buckeye Lady. I'm sure there's a lot of people listening that don't even know what a Buckeye is.
Well, all of us in Ohio probably do, for sure.
Yep, for sure.
at least we better. So, and
Yep.
and you're based out of the Columbus Worthington area, correct?
Yeah, we're basically smack dab in the middle of Columbus. We're right in the middle of we're 2 miles north of Ohio State campus and a couple miles south of a town called Worthington.
Okay, perfect. Well, I come through Columbus every 2 weeks, so I will have to stop in and check some things out next time I'm in town.
Please do. Yes, we're open every day.
Perfect. Alicia, can you tell the audience a little bit about the Buckeye Lady?
Yeah, so okay, where do I start? It started in COVID. We're actually a COVID success story, I think you could call it. In March of 2020, I was actually an educator. So I was not a bakery owner, not a small business owner, entrepreneur at all. I received a master's degree in education and went to pursue a career as a high school guidance counselor. So during COVID, I was on spring break, and at that same time is when the restaurant industry shut down. So all of my friends in the restaurant industry and service industry started to lose their jobs. Many without pay, of course, right at first, many without insurance and whatnot. And here I am at home as an educator, good income, insurance, very comfortable, wanted to help my friends in some sort of way. So I started to sell my traditional Buckeyes. So I've always made traditional Buckeyes and I've taken them to parties and gifts and whatnot. So a traditional Buckeye is a peanut butter and chocolate candy. It's round, it's about 1 ounce in size, and it's shaped to resemble the nut from the Buckeye tree. So here in Ohio, we have these trees that drop these nuts in these little pods, and the nuts look like almost, I mean, they say they're called a Buckeye because they look like the eye of a buck, like of a deer. Yeah. I should have one on hand to show you, but here I have a little piece of paper there. It looks like there's a Buckeye. So then people in Ohio, we make candies that look like Buckeyes that consist of peanut butter and chocolate. And I started to sell my traditional peanut butter and chocolate candies, and I raised over $1,000 for my friends in the service industry. And I donated that money in Kroger gift cards. Now, it wasn't a huge impact, but it was great for each person. They were able to, take that $100 gift card and do a run at the grocery store, while they didn't have their jobs. So it really gained some traction. I was selling Buckeyes from my front porch. My friends and family would pick up Buckeyes. It was on the honor system. They were $20 a dozen. And I moved I had a literal beer fridge that I moved onto the front porch, and it was the honor system. You would open up the fridge and grab your dozen of Buckeyes and you would leave money under my doormat. So that is how it started. And then after I was able to donate that money to my friends, people still wanted to buy my Buckeyes. Now, for you Ohioans that are listening, you know that you can buy traditional Buckeyes pretty much anywhere. So I wanted to make it a sustainable business, and I wanted out of education. So with those two factors, I really needed to find a new way to make the Buckeye bigger and better. So what I did is I started to stuff them with extra ingredients. So I have to give credit where credit is due. It was my mom's idea. She said, how about you throw M&Ms inside of a Buckeye? So I threw 4 M&Ms inside of the peanut butter and chocolate Buckeye, threw one M&M on top, basically made a giant peanut butter M&M essentially. And they started to sell like crazy. And then my flavor started to roll. So I came out with cookies and cream stuffed Buckeyes, M&M stuffed Nutella, salted caramel pretzel. I started to create these stuffed Buckeyes that had never been done before. So I essentially invented the stuffed Buckeye, and now I own the phrase stuffed Buckeye. The term stuffed Buckeye is not able to be used anywhere in Ohio except by us. Um, so all I did was made something that already existed, different and better. And then it just kind of rolled with it. People kept buying them. So I continued to make Buckeyes from my home kitchen for a year, outgrew my home kitchen, moved into a shared space, and that's where I started to grow my staff. I hired a few people on. I started to really hone in on recipe development, coming up with additional flavors, um, sourcing all of my goods, like my dry goods, like sourcing packaging that worked for me, looking at, you know, restaurant grade, large tubs of peanut butter, large, like bulk size chocolates, where to get all of this stuff to run this bakery. So that's what I did during the year of a shared space, was really started to grow the business from the ground up. And then I grew out of the shared space and opened the storefront. And now we've been in our storefront for over 2 years. We just had our 2 year anniversary in June. I have a staff of over, it depends on the time of year. Right now is a busy season because, and I'll get into this, but I started to make these mobile food carts. So during the summer, we have these mobile food carts that are out at farmers markets, and therefore they're ran by additional employees. So this time of year, I have over 20 employees. But once the farmers markets die down in the fall, my employee number will come down. But we are open 7 days a week. We offer over 30 different varieties of stuffed Buckeyes on a daily basis. And then we switch out the flavors based on season and holidays. So in total, I've created over 80 different varieties of stuffed Buckeyes. And they're a point to make is that they are all still peanut butter and chocolate based. And then we just add to the middle and then add to the top. So it's been fun to come up with a new innovative idea and serve it to Ohio, a product that's essentially never been seen before.
Yeah, I've never heard of that before, but I like it already. So I will definitely find time when I'm in Columbus to stop down. So you made it through COVID. Your 2 year anniversary. What are some of the biggest challenges or struggles that you had to overcome to get to where you're at now? I guess besides just COVID being one large trouble.
Sure. Well, I didn't understand the impact that COVID had on businesses until now. So now at my stage of business, to think about COVID happening now is unfathomable. So my heart just goes out to those business owners. You don't know until you know, right? So I just can't imagine like having to shut down. It's unfathomable. So I am grateful to say that COVID actually didn't necessarily impact me because it actually birthed me, essentially. It birthed the Buckeye Lady. The Buckeye Lady was built out of COVID. So I think that a challenge then and now, I think, will always be staffing. Bottom line, finding good available people.
Right.
We operate here at the Buckeye Lady pretty solely on part-time. I employ a lot of adolescents, which I just adore, giving them a safe space for their first or second job. We are positioned right in walking distance to two high schools. So I've really honed in on working with the staff, and as a former educator, it's just been a really wonderful part of the puzzle, or piece of the puzzle, is to employ these young adults and giving them an environment to learn the skills that come with having a job, right? The time management, the just the responsibility. And I give a lot of autonomy to my staff. And so making sure that they know to do the right thing, right? And as long as you are doing what you think is the right thing, I'm going to support you. And I think that being a school counselor and an educator has really taught me a lot about how to even run such a business of a scale. If anyone listening knows the job of a school counselor, it is astronomical and it's never ending. And it's education is the hardest job on the planet. The educators, yeah, just really, really deserve more than we could ever give them. But that's the only way I'm able to run this business, is everything I learned in that school building.
Yeah.
Just the juggling, the time management, just the responsibility of having 500 students on my caseload. If I can do that job, I can do this job.
If you do that, you can handle 20 kids.
Yeah.
No problem. I think it's valuable for, someone in high school to get their first job, right? And, and learn what it means to work before they leave high school and have to decide, do I just go into the workforce? Do I go to college? What do I do? Do I go in the military? So having that first job, I think is critical for everybody.
It is. It teaches you that having a job is necessary, of course, but being able to juggle school and a job will then teach you how to juggle life and a job as you get older, right? Like I had my first job when I was 14, and I stayed there and worked at the same place until I was 24. So I think there's so much value in getting a job early and having an employer that knows how important it is to learn those skills, just those life skills. That's where I learned my life skills. That's where I learned just how to be responsible, how to handle yourself. I learned that all from that job in high school.
Yeah. It's amazing what you can learn from just a simple job.
It is. Being on a team, so important. And then it translates back into school. And then what they learn in school, they use here. It's all just so intertwined. And I have learned, back to staffing, how kids can be too young to hire, right? Like I think I hired 2 14-year-olds. You're able to hire at 14 in Ohio. And I did when I first opened. And they're now with us still, and they have just grown into fantastic, fantastic young women. And they have just completely changed and grown. But what I learned is that they were too young at first. 14 is entirely too young. I think 16 is probably that sweet spot. They're probably thinking about getting their driver's license and whatnot. There's some responsibility there, and it can translate into the work environment. But so back to your initial question, staffing, I think, will always be an issue, because all of us have lives outside of work, especially when you're focusing on part-time employees. And not all my employees are young. I have adults, but they're also part-time. But as an employer, I value their lives and their schedule. But then that can create difficulties with scheduling, making sure the shop's covered, making sure we're producing enough.
Right.
But that's
a lot of challenges. Staff is. I apologize. Yeah.
No, you're.
I was just saying staffing is an issue for many industries. So, especially since COVID. So
of course, and probably all industries, right? Like we all need people. Yeah. We're all ran by people, so it can be difficult.
Yeah, yeah, it's almost every industry. So is there anything that you would have done differently in the growth of your business? Not a different store or a different product, but just anything in the growth of the business.
Well, we're definitely still growing and I'm still growing and learning. I am about to embark in a business program the next 12 weeks. So I'm excited to learn more about diving into scaling and coming up with a growth plan to learn the ins and outs of the back end of a business. Right now, I'm really just winging it, right? I have a master's degree in education, not in business.
Right.
um, I really look into who I have around me to see who can help me right now. So I think I should have done that sooner, but I have learned to delegate. That's been very difficult, and I think I would have delegated earlier on. Uh, but no, I don't think I would have done anything different. I think how it's gone has been great for winging
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Not having any experience.
Yeah.
It's going all right.
Yeah. I mean, and learning to delegate is critical. So we don't, as small business owners, we don't like to do that. So we have to be in control, but to scale, you have to learn to delegate. There's no
You
other way.
do. And there's always a saying in the back of my mind that I try to ignore, and it's if you want it done right, do it yourself, which is true sometimes, but it's not always uh sustainable, and it's like you can't do everything yourself. And I think that there are other ways to do things, and I have learned to be very open-minded and allowing, when I delegate, allowing people to do it their way, because there are different avenues to get to the same location or the same goal.
Yeah. Another way to think of that is if you want something done right, train a good employee to do it properly.
Oh, I love that. Train a good employee
So,
to do it properly. I'm gonna type that out somewhere and hang that up. Thank you, Joe.
steal it. I'm typing it up too.
That's so true.
So with everything that's going on, do you have a support team either at work or home or both that helps keep you on track?
I do. My husband is a big help. He is my right hand man for sure in many different ways. He runs the back end of the business, and without him, none of this would really be possible. My mom helps a lot too. She helps with the business. She and my dad are small business owners. Um, so they say I brought them out of retirement against their will, but they're loving it and they're loving seeing the growth. Um, so there is a support team in my family, absolutely, and my staff is absolutely fantastic. I have some employees I've had since the beginning, since the first week at the shared space. There are a few of my initial employees. So I think that says a lot about the culture that I've created. I also think there's a lot to be said about the entrepreneur that's still working alongside their employees, right? Like today, when I'm done here with this, I'll go out and see if they need help with dishes. I always like put myself on the dishes so they don't have to do it, right? They're producing, I'll just go in there and do their dishes and then come back and do some other things. But just working alongside them, I think is really valuable.
Yeah, that's true leadership right there. So, and if you have 14-year-olds and 16-year-olds that are sticking around for years, it must be a good environment because 14 and 16-year-olds don't typically stick around that long.
That's very true.
They tend to job hop. So you're obviously doing a good job helping them grow as employees. So once again, with everything that you have going on, new projects, how do you maintain a work-life balance or work-life integration, however you want to look at it? Is that something that's even possible at this point in the business?
I certainly try. I say I don't get many days off, I get time off. So if I, am scheduled to cover the shop on the evening shift, I have that morning off. So I'll do something for myself or whatnot. So I do try to balance as much as I can for sure. But it can be easy to really hermit away from friends and family to you get in the zone and you keep working. And sometimes being a hard worker can be a fault almost. You just need to slow down and take a break. I try to do that with trips. Like my husband and I will take little trips here and there throughout the year, like 3 or vacations, I suppose, but weekend trips or camping or whatnot. So I try to really schedule times. Like we're going camping in a few weeks, so I have that few days, like I'm not doing anything work related those weeks. I've said no to a couple, catering orders, or I try to give them to other businesses. I think that's really, really big, is to refer to someone else in town. If I am set to do that, you really have to prioritize yourself and be able to say no, which I'm learning that.
It's like delegating and then getting away from the business are two incredibly difficult things for all of us, for sure.
And they all take, you have to be mindful about it and really, really make yourself do it. And then it's a learned skill. So once you do it, then it becomes a little easier.
Yeah, for sure. So how do you continue to stay motivated and focused in growing the business?
Well, I think it's important to be truthful and say I'm not always motivated and focused. It comes in waves, I think. And I think it's important to acknowledge when that happens. So I am a creative, I have a very creative mind. And so with creativity comes ebbs and flows and ups and downs. And I think realizing that and leaning into when that does happen, just acknowledging it. And I'm like, all right, I'm definitely in a creative rut. For example, with social media, it comes and goes for me. When it's on, it's on. And when it's not, it's not. And I think that's okay. I think that I've learned to give myself grace, I think, is how to address my motivation or determination when it ebbs and flows.
Social media can be a full-time job all on its own. So it's definitely tough.
It is.
So you're already, in my mind anyways, you're already ahead of the competition because you took something that all of us from Ohio know and love in the Buckeye, and you made it different. So you're ahead of the competition in that way. How do you continue to stay ahead of them?
Ooh, that's a good question. Trying to stay creative with flavors, trying to come up with new ideas. I'll give you a little secret. I haven't even announced yet, but we're gonna release a sweet pickle buttercream Buckeye. So if you like pickles, pickles and peanut butter are a thing. So I did not grow up on pickle and peanut butter sandwiches, but a lot of people did. I know it probably sounds gross if you didn't. But coming up with creative ideas like that, I think is really important. That's going to keep us aside, because I think it's only a matter of time before bakeries start doing what we're doing. It's very hard to trademark food.
Right.
And we're not going to trademark the food. But honing in on the recipe, making sure the recipe and our quality assurance, accessibility, being open daily, I think is really important. That gives us a step up. We have mobilized Buckeyes as well. I have 4 licensed food trucks. They're carts, but they're licensed the same as a food truck. So that allows us to be at farmers markets. And one of our largest revenue streams is corporate companies hiring us for cart rentals for their events.
Okay.
So honing in and really marketing those mobile carts. It's a huge revenue stream for us. So having that piece of the puzzle, I think it sets us aside from competition.
For sure.
No one else has ever done that.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm assuming that yours are fresh. So
Made daily.
I'm all used to the ones that come in a box, and I'm not sure when they were made. So
That is very true. You can buy them anywhere. You can buy them at the airports, and they are shelf stable, right? So they have additives. Ours are made today, they'll be sold today.
Yeah. So ultimately probably healthier as well, because of eliminating the additives.
Yes. Yeah, there's no calories in our Buckeyes. You don't know that?
No, I didn't.
We take them
can't
out.
wait to, yeah, I can't wait to eat like 50 of them.
I'm looking forward to seeing you. Yes.
Yeah. So where do you see the business in the next 12 to 36 months?
You know, Joe, I'm really comfortable where I'm at. I think with scaling can come headaches, and I would like to stay here for now.
Yeah.
And then later on, perhaps another store, perhaps more carts. I'd like to add some new variety. Like I've been working on a fried Buckeye. We have those at the fair, so I've been trying one of those. Just trying to maybe add to the menu a little bit. Would like to. We have contracts right now with Ohio State and the Columbus Blue Jackets hockey team and the Columbus Crew pro soccer team. So honing in on those contracts and those relationships to perhaps get mobile carts in the arenas, scaling in that way. Yeah, but right now in the next 12 months, I'm really comfortable just coasting.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. So,
I think it's important. It's needed.
Yeah. So what's the best business advice anybody's ever given you?
Oh man. Well, to be quite honest, I really liked what you just said, because I struggle with the delegation. And so teaching someone, like if you want it done right, do it yourself. But I've never had anyone tell me, if you want it right, teach a good employee to do it the right way.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it's the easiest way to replace yourself. That's growth. You almost have to make yourself replaceable to continue to grow. So,
You're right. That's what I'm slowly working on now.
Yeah.
Delegating tasks that I don't necessarily need to do. It's hard because I love those tasks, right? The easiest task to delegate right now in this stage of business is the kitchen. So I've been head baker since the beginning. It's hard to teach someone. I point at the computer because it's all this stuff.
Yeah.
The back end stuff. It's hard to teach someone that. So I've got to teach the kitchen, but that's what I love.
Yeah.
So I think you've given me really great advice today. So thank you.
Oh, well,
so
thanks.
much.
Thanks.
Uh-huh.
Well, I think you always have to stay, especially with baking and trying out new recipes. Every top chef out there, every top baker out there is always, at least from all the shows I watch, they're centrally involved, even though they may not be doing 100% of it. They're all very centrally involved. So
that's so true.
That's great. So final question for you, and I'll let you go. What's the best advice you would give to somebody who's either a couple years in and might be struggling in the business, or they want to start a business, but they just can't get themselves to take that leap?
I think having faith in yourself, because I have, along the way, the ideas I've had, others kind of thought I was crazy. You have to believe in your idea. So when I first bought my very first mobile cart, the individuals I told didn't click at first. They were like, "What? You're gonna buy these like ice cream carts and sell Buckeyes out of them?" And it it was my idea, and I really had faith that it would work. And so
Yeah.
I did it, and it's now I have 5 of them. I have 4 of the big ones and a tiny one. And then most recently, I purchased a big cargo van, a new cargo van. I upgraded, and I had to do that on my own because who I was telling was like, I don't know, are you sure you need that? It's been the best investment and best idea I've had thus far. Even the storefront, people didn't believe that I could sell just Buckeyes. And still to this day, people are like, you have a storefront just for Buckeyes? Like, it's not a full service bakery. So I had faith in my ideas, and they've worked out. And so I think for someone starting out with the ideas, you have to have faith in yourself. And if you think it's going to work, then go for it.
Yeah, you have to try, or you'll regret it in the future.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you think about it this way, I mean, I know that there's cupcake places all around, and they only make cupcakes, and they have 20 different flavors, right? So and they're very successful. So why not? Why not have 30 different flavors of Buckeyes? It's the same. It's the same thing. Everybody loves Buckeyes.
It is the same thing.
So,
that's how I have to explain the stuffed Buckeye. I say, you know how one item, different varieties, like cupcakes, like cookies, like cakes. It's one item, different flavors. It's the same thing. So thank you for that validation. I use that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, Alicia, I really appreciate you taking part today. If anybody in the audience wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way to find the Buckeye Lady?
On the internet, thebuckeyelady.com, you can click the contact us page, and we also ship. We ship anywhere in the US. You can order shipping straight from the website. And then if you're ever in Columbus, we're located right on High Street, in between Morse Road and Henderson Road. We're open daily. And then, of course, social media channels, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. You can find the Buckeye Lady anywhere.
Perfect. Well, everybody out there, at the very least, get on the website and order some. Or definitely try to stop down to the storefront. Alicia, once again, thank you very much for taking part. I can't wait to stop in the store sometime and get some Buckeyes myself. Everybody else out there, thank you for listening, and take care. And we'll catch you on the next episode of Mastering the Numbers. Take care, Alicia.
Thank you, Joe. Talk to you soon.
All right, see ya.
You've just experienced another insightful episode of Mastering the Numbers. We hope you enjoyed the journey and gained valuable insights to fuel your financial success. Don't forget to subscribe to Mastering the Numbers on your favorite podcast platform to never miss an episode. And be sure to leave us a review to let us know how we're doing. Until next time, keep pushing forward and let your entrepreneurial spirit soar. Thank you for listening.